everyone. I'll remember you all in therapy.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Darkness, and I am DarknessStone. Today we're talking about a person who lives in a pineapple under the sea, SpongeBob SquarePants. And a lot of people may say, hey Stone, you're a commentary channel, not a gaming channel. But the last time I experimented with my content... So let's give this a try now, shall we? Plus, I wanted to make a SpongeBob video. For those of you who are unaware of this title, today we're talking about SpongeBob SquarePants and the Cosmic Shake, the spiritual successor to the SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom game. Cosmic Shake game came out on January 31st, 2023, while Battle for Bikini Bottom came out October 31st, and no, it's not Halloween yet. Stay back! Back, I say! Back!
I hate this channel.
No!
Ugh. Okay, it just came out October 31st, 2003, with the remake coming out on January 21st, 2020. Its remake was extremely faithful to the original game, making it basically the same game but with better graphics, so I'll use that for the gameplay footage in the background. Battle for Bikini Bottom is an amazing collect-a-thon platformer full of Easter eggs to the show, many ways to progress, even ways to skip levels if you beat enough in-game challenges, and a smoker Mr. Krabs.
SpongeBob!
It was so well beloved that it even got a remake in 2020 called SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. This game came out to mostly critical acclaim, and it was an extremely faithful remake, bringing this game from the early 2000s to modern-day consoles with modern-day graphics, bringing it back for modern-day audiences. Then, in January 2023, the next SpongeBob game in the Battle for Bikini Bottom saga came out, if we ignore its SpongeBob movie game, The Cosmic Shake. The Cosmic Shake was announced in late 2021, and it had a huge amount of hype behind it, and when it came out, it was alright. I enjoyed playing it on stream on my streaming channel, but I felt like it was missing some things. It's still a good game, don't get me wrong, but there are some flaws with it. So much so that I still believe Battle for Bikini Bottom is a superior game. There are many reasons why I believe this. While I would give Battle for Bikini Bottom a 9 out of 10, the Cosmic Shake I would give around a 7 out of 10. There are a lot of reasons why, and that's what we're going to get into today. While the Cosmic Shake wasn't as good compared to Battle for Bikini Bottom or the Cosmic Disappointment. The story for both games are very important in my opinion. Each game has a story, but with Battle for Bikini Bottom, the story grounds itself in the SpongeBob world much more. So we will start with it. Battle for Bikini Bottom starts with SpongeBob and Patrick making a wish on a seashell for real robots to appear so that they could play with them. In the meantime, Plankton made a machine that creates robots that are accidentally placed on the Do Not Obey option on their creation machine, thus causing them to revolt. Seems like a classic SpongeBob plot. Now these robots are all over Bikini Bottom and are attacking citizens, and SpongeBob and Patrick think that they caused it. It is now up to them, and Sandy, to take out the robots and find out what is really happening behind all of this. While with the Cosmic Shape, on the trip to Glove World, SpongeBob and Patrick meet a seller of magical junk called Lady Cassandra. She sells them magical bubble soap that can grant them wishes, but they use too much of it and cause rips in reality, causing parts of Bikini Bottom to be sucked into different realities. It is now up to SpongeBob and Patrick, who is now in balloon form, to save Bikini Bottom. Now each story has its own merits, but there is something I'd like to bring up. I am a fan of early SpongeBob, not seeing a majority of episodes past season 7, out of the current 13 seasons. I'm also not a big fan of things like Camp Coral, the Patrick Star Show, cause fuck Nickelodeon for going against Steven Hillenburg's wishes. But the story of the Cosmic Shape seems to lead towards the more recent SpongeBob seasons, from what I have seen past season 7. I personally am not a huge fan of it. In the opening cutscenes, Battle for Bikini Bottom gives you a villain, a reason for the enemies to be there, showing they're a legitimate threat, etc. To me, the Cosmic Shake doesn't really do that. The enemies from the story just kind of show up and threaten Plankton and Karen, and SpongeBob easily defeats them. SpongeBob and Patrick weren't afraid, the enemies weren't given names, they're just reality glob monsters that are just kind of there. Then we move on to the main story. In Battle for Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Sandy all work together in different levels with different mechanics to beat boss robots, and collecting gold spatulas that are required to progress. While Cosmic Shake, you play only as SpongeBob, who gains bonuses and new abilities to his moveset, mind you, in different levels, needing to collect jellies in order to progress, or at least that's what it seems. I'll get into that later. Lastly, in Battle for Bikini Bottom, they face the final boss of Robot SpongeBob and Plankton, ending the story in a SpongeBob-like way, with a joke. Classic. In the SpongeBob Cosmic Shake game, it ends with Cassandra, who, as was led up to being the villain rather clearly, transforming Squidward into a large reality goop monster out of nowhere, and bing bang boom, it is a time loop plot because of Patrick's dumbness. Nice. Now, if you were to ask me which story I prefer, I would say Battle for Bikini Bottom. Not just because it follows the story structure of older SpongeBob more, but I also think it makes a lot more sense. It makes sense what is happening in the world. The robots are invading and causing chaos all over Bikini Bottom. In the Cosmic Shake, magical bubbles cause rifts in reality, sending pieces of Bikini Bottom in other worlds. It's just a huge stretch for the SpongeBob world as far as I'm aware, which reality bending isn't really a mainstay. Also in the Cosmic Shake, I don't understand how SpongeBob and Patrick know which characters are the ones from their universe, aside from Pearl and Mr. Krabs who say so. There's no way to tell because all of them act like they would in the world that they're in, like Sandy in the movie world or Gary in the Halloween world. So how do we know that Sandy from the Cowboy world is not their real Sandy, not Mr. Krabs, without saying so? It just seems like a plot hole to me. Now we move on to gameplay, and I honestly think Battle for Bikini Bottom has an advantage here. To put it bluntly, it feels like Battle for Bikini Bottom has a better feel to it. There feels like there is weight behind the movements, and while in Cosmic Shape, everything feels floaty and it feels like there's no weight behind it. I even do it in my live stream, as you could see when I first get control of the character.
Ooh, I'm so excited to go to Glove World. I better meet up with Patrick
wow,
before he
this is
forgets what day it is, or who I am.
Ooh, okay. Also, the sound effects of the games are supposed to feel like they give a good oomph behind their attacks and stuff like that. But in the Cosmic Shake, they just don't have that. In Battle for Bikini Bottom, you can feel the impact with great sound effects, crash noises, but in the Cosmic Shake, you only hear faint splat sound and whoosh noises. There are some crash noises, but there isn't much oomph to them. It doesn't feel like you actually hit them, rather than you just blew them away. Now, past the sound effects, we move on to the different gameplay elements. The collection. Now, both of these games are platformers, and some may say collectathon platformers. But with that, I would say they are both not collectathon platformers. Battle for Bikini Bottom is 100% a collectathon platformer, while the Cosmic Shake was not, and I shall explain that. Battle for Bikini Bottom is a collectathon for one reason and one reason only: the golden spatulas. These objects in the game are needed for progression, and are rare throughout the game, but there are ways for you to gain bonus ones by exploring or completing challenges. You are locked out of levels if you do not have enough golden spatulas, thus making them necessary for gameplay or progression, thus making it a collectathon platformer. The Cosmic Shake, on the other hand, has the jellies, or I call them goobs. These jellies, or goobs, compared to the golden spatulas, are not really a fair comparison, because the jellies act more like the shiny objects in the Battle for Bikini Bottom game, because they are very plentiful and are the main things you collect in the game. The jellies are used to make costumes that are needed for progression. And I need to put air quotes there because, from what I can tell, there is no lowered limit on how many you need to collect in the game. And that's where I take issue with it, to think the game is not a collectathon platformer. You don't really need to collect the jellies to progress, because as you go through the game, you need not put any extra effort into collecting what you need. You don't need to be clever to find more jellies. They aren't hidden behind something, or you don't get more of them if you beat a challenge. There are golden spatulas in the game. I found one. I collected one while doing the movie director level on the live stream. A golden spatula! They're not needed for progression, and I feel like they were just placed there for fan service, because I cannot seem to find a place where they are mentioned anywhere in the game, nor are they needed for completion. I also know there are collectibles in this game, but that doesn't make it a collectathon platformer. If that's the case, Assassin's Creed 3 would be a collectathon. So what I'm saying, there's a main distinction between these games, making them distinctly different. One is a 3D collectathon platformer, while the other one is just a 3D platformer. And I'm pretty sure you can guess which one is which. Now I would say that both games are enjoyable to play. Don't mistake me, I still like both of these games. I just feel like one game has more flaws than the other. Gameplay wise, I feel like Battle for Bikini Bottom, game flow, and game world are much better. Now, I do enjoy the Cosmic Shake's worlds, personally enjoying the Knights of the Past world and the Glove world's creepy aesthetic, given the game character. While in the Battle for Bikini Bottom, it just feels like the world of Bikini Bottom. It feels like you're actually there and not just playing through the motions. Not to mention the places flow better world to world, not the sudden stop and start of the Cosmic Shake. Now I'd like to talk about the riding or sliding segments. These segments in Battle for Bikini Bottom are spread out nicely, and even have a mainstay level like Sand Mountain. Each one has different paths you can take to get the hidden bonuses or more shiny objects. The Cosmic Shake has sliding. The game has sliding, at least in one of the levels being the Fantasy Medieval Times world, but it's very limited, just like the riding mechanic. The riding mechanic has almost no free control. You're on rails, basically. It's hard to explain if you aren't physically controlling it. It's like you don't even have to hold the controller to do the levels required with writing. At first I thought it was really hard to control because I couldn't go anywhere I wanted to, but it turns out I was just on rails. You could tell my confusion when I was playing the game. I'm trying to control this, but it's a little difficult. It was my lack of control, not my control in of itself, if that makes sense. Overall, I think they're both really good games, but Battle for Bikini Bottom I feel is much superior. It feels like the game based on Bikini Bottom more than the Cosmic Shake. It could be just me being a fan of earlier SpongeBob, but with the story and gameplay mechanics, I feel like the Battle for Bikini Bottom is much better. I also felt like the collectathon platformer genre fit the first game's world much better with the golden spatulas. Note there are some things to collect in the Cosmic Shake, like such as the refreshments for Squidward or finding the hiding spots of Spot, but none of them are necessary for progressing through the game. If I had to play one of these games, and this video was your deciding factor between the two, I would go for Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. The Cosmic Shake is not bad, far from it. I enjoyed my time with the game, but compared for Battle for Bikini Bottom, it can be seen as a disappointment. Now onto the fan art feature. First up is one from Alabaster Litzo, a fan favorite of mine. And they made this beautiful long piece of darkness, and it just says welcome to the darkness with dark there, and it's just beautifully done. I love the colors, I love how the way it's drawn, I love the hands, I love the way the face is drawn, I love the hair, I love all of it. You did an amazing, Alabaster Litzo. Thank you so much for this. Up next is one from Fluffy Wolfcat on Twitter. Thank you so much for this. I like the basic styling you drew me of, and I love the pencil and pen aesthetic. I love how you did the P-coat. You did really well. I love how you remembered the beard. Some people forget the beard sometimes, but you did a very good job of this. Thank you so much for this. Up next is Jinx on Discord, and they drew me as the Lamb from Cult of the Lamb, and I got the little scarf, and it got the little nubs, and it got the bell. I think it's really cute, and they did an amazing job with it. Even though it's just a work in progress, I still love it very much. Thank you so much for this. Up next is from Komaida on Discord, and they have a sketch of me in the darkness sitting on a pile of books with a cat. I got a cat. But this is very nice. I really enjoy this art piece. It is very pretty, even though it's just a sketch. Thank you so much for this. Up next is Lila Walker on Discord, and they drew this with my adventures in Minecraft. Drew me with a trident, and I really do enjoy Lila's art style. They do really good stuff, and they're a good fan to have. They're really nice, and their art is really good too. I want to thank them for this piece of art, and you did really well. Thank you so much for this. Up next is from Raven Dawn Studios on Discord. And they drew this. My scarves have minds of their own sometimes. And they drew really nice color. I really love the red and blue gradient in the background. I love how you drew the hair and drew me I love how I'm just a little bit chubby because that's how I am in real life. You drew the thickness of me very well. I love how my hands are across like a Minecraft villager, just But thank you so much for this. You did an amazing job and your style is wonderful. Up next is Yippee from RXTTING Corpse EO on Discord. I have no idea how to pronounce that name. Jesus, I just messed that up. But it's me as a Yippee. Me as an autism creature. I am an autism creature. I am a big fan of this. Big fan of Yippee. Thank you so much for this. And lastly, we got one from Tommy. This one is of Dr. Cena from my ARG. This is a character that found Stone in the Darkness from the SCP Foundation. And she was voice acted by a wonderful person. And I'm just happy to see fan art of Dr. Cena. And I hope that Tommy enjoyed seeing their fan art here. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little fun romp through SpongeBob SquarePants and my inane ramblings. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon. See ya!
Enjoy the dark.